what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they...
Welcome back to the 21st episode of the Joshua Cuthbertson Show. I'm sitting here with my special guest, Havelock Middle School boys head coach, and she got the opportunity to coach the girls in the championship game against West Craven Middle School girls. Coach Tiffany Anderson, how you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Yes, sir. Good to see you. Yes, sir. So how you and your family been during the quarantine?
Good. Been crazy a little bit. Luckily, thanks to you, we got some training going on and,
Yes, ma'am.
and getting that taken care of, but really just kind of sticking to the house and trying to, survive the close proximity to each other during this.
So how's working from home?
Definitely been a challenge. I am a hands-on and moving from PE to the classroom was a big step this year anyway, but then to go to virtual teaching and not really have my hands on my kids, it's been a challenge for me. Thankfully, we do family time every day. I see most of them on a daily basis, which is nice. So.
Yes, ma'am. So talk about your family, wife and kids.
Yeah, so my wife Kelly, we almost a year. July 21st will be a year. And then we have 4 kids. Bodie just graduated, walked the other day at Havelock.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Haley turned 16, got a car and a job, and loving life with that.
Going. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And then
that's what you want your kids do. Yes, ma'am.
That's right. Emily will be in 8th grade, and then Nellie is getting ready to be a 5th grader at Roger Bell, and she, so they're working hard and doing their thing.
Yes, ma'am. So how did you get into coaching basketball?
So, where I grew up in Michigan, and when I grew up in Michigan, when I was in high school, girls and boys played separate seasons. So we played in the fall, and then boys played in the winter. And so I started.
So it wasn't together.
No.
Like it is now,
Right.
like a JV and a varsity girls and boys.
Yeah. So it gave me the opportunity to go back down to the middle school when I was in high school and help with basketball, and that's really where it started. And then my junior year, varsity coach decided my playing days were over, but kept me on as a student assistant, and carried that into college, and then just coaching really. I had a shirt on earlier, basketball saved my life. Really, it was my getaway, and being in the gym. I was a gym rat growing up, and so it just coaching. I had some really good coaches looking out for me, and that saw something in me that I didn't know was there, and helped develop that. So
talk about that feeling, the moment of stepping from player to coach, because I had to do the same thing where I graduated college and wanted to go overseas, but it didn't happen to where I had to slip into coach mode.
Right.
And then you, like you just said, your coach said your playing days are over, but he kept you around as a student assistant. So talk about that moment of just realizing that, all right, I'm not going to be a player no more, but I still want to stay with you.
Right. And I think, competitiveness, I'm a very competitive person, so playing, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the best, and I needed somebody like you training me. I mean, I think maybe my career would have lasted a little bit longer.
Yes, I really appreciate that.
But, going into coaching, that competitiveness changes a little bit. You got to see everything that goes on. There's so much with, I saw a lot of the struggles my coaches had that as a player you don't realize. Playing time and dealing with parents and officials and just the day-to-day operation of coaching. When you play, you walk in the gym, you put your shoes, lace them up and go, and then you go home and, film and all of that sort of stuff that really you don't see as a player. You don't see all the background stuff. So thankfully I saw it young enough. I knew, and then when Kelly and I met, I was very upfront with her. Look, you can marry me, but you better say, kiss me in October, and then I'll see you in March.
I'll see you in March.
and
it's
so
a long season.
Yeah. So thankfully she was very supportive and has been, and so, but it's definitely, coaching's so much different than being a player, and thankfully, the best players are not always the best coaches, and the best coaches aren't always the best players.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
so that, I've had to continually remind myself, and in different stops in my career, tell the kids, my career ended as a junior in high school, but it doesn't mean, just because I didn't play in college doesn't mean I'm not equipped to be a coach, or, so definitely a student of the game and continue learning all the time.
Yes, ma'am. That's incredible. Okay, so now talk about coaching the Havelock Middle School boys, and talking about building that program to bringing it back up to where it needs to be and up to standard to where Havelock boys middle school basketball used to be.
Yeah, so, I'm only been in Havelock area 3 years.
Yeah.
So, and spent 2 at West Craven and loved those 2 years. Havelock's a football town. And boys in Havelock are brought up to play football.
Play football on the field.
And, it's a struggle of trying to get them to love being in the gym. And I think that was my biggest thing this year that I wanted to develop. We weren't as successful as I wanted, but those boys wanted to be in the gym. And so I think, getting them to realize that they can be 2 sport athletes or 3 even. I'd love for them to be 3 sport athletes. Now you get to your junior or senior year and you've made a commitment, then you do what you got to do, because you've got a livelihood now counting on your health. But encouraging, seeing them as football players, but hey, you can be a basketball player too. And
you can run track too.
You can run track. I want you to be multifaceted. But I think part of that is too getting out as basketball coaches and going to football and going to track. And this spring,
more versatile out
right?
There, yes, ma'am.
And showing those kids that you care about them 365.
And not just only within basketball.
Right.
Yes.
And I want them to be successful in football, but we want to be successful in basketball too. And I think teaching at the elementary and then coaching at the middle school is going to help that a little bit, because I see those kids as little kids on the playground, and I can talk about being a basketball player and a football player. We can do both.
Yes.
And I think, Coach Wooten, the brothers at the high school in football are going to do great things. I have no doubt. But I think they see that whole picture too, and that's going to be important, is to just all of us be on that same page. So.
Yes, ma'am. So, to a coach like me, what advice would you give? Because my first truly year fully in was this past year, and you said you're 3 years in as a head coach though. So,
yeah.
To coaches, young coaches like me that want to be one day head coaches of a basketball team, what advice would you give us?
Well, actually, this was year 12. I know I don't look that old, but but I have been in North Carolina 12 years, and I've coached high school, middle school, kind of up and down. And but you got to put in your time. You got to work hard. Learn. Go ask questions of other coaches. Spend time in practices and really picking brains. Guys like Fernandez and Coach Newbern. I love
Campbell.
Coach Campbell. I love Campbell. I love Fernandez. They're both great guys. Sit down, pick their brains. Be willing to be that continual student of the game. And just sometimes you just got to buy your time. You got to be willing to put in that effort, and sometimes it's not the prettiest. Sometimes it's not the most. You're not getting the attention, and that's okay. But I know if I were an athletic director, seeing what you did with the boys this year at West Craven with Mike, your time's coming. An athletic director will be stupid not to give you an opportunity, because your heart's in it. You've got the development side, and the boys really responded to you this year. And so I think just keep plugging away, keep putting that time in, building that resume and building those connections, and you're gonna be fine. And then don't forget what it's like to be an assistant. When you get to be a head coach, don't forget that assistant role. One, find a good assistant, but 2, understand that work and that effort that you put in as an assistant.
They have to do this. Yes,
and be willing to continue to do that grunt work kind of stuff. Wash uniforms, whatever it takes to be successful. Because in college I was a student assistant manager. I washed uniforms and swept floors, but
you had to work your way up.
And now I'm still, as a middle school coach, I'm still sweeping
doing
floors.
some of the same
things.
and
And thankfully I have a wife that doesn't mind being a coach's wife and likes to wash uniforms. And help. So build that support system. Craven County, hopefully, will be lucky to have you as a head coach here. And if it's not here, somebody's gonna be blessed with your ability and your passion. So.
Yes, ma'am. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
One more question. So talk about coaching the Havelock girls against the West Craven Middle School girls in that championship game. That was such an anticipated game all season. We practically knew first place, second place, it was going to happen. It met up. It happened. That's what everybody wanted to see. The fans got to see it. It was sold out. Talk about being the head coach of the girls and just talk about the atmosphere in that game in general.
You know, I think it was crazy going back to West Craven and coaching on the other side. And so, you know, even when we played with the regular season there and I coached my boys, West Craven brings it. You know, those fans bring it. They're intense. They are passionate. And, you know, I think it was so different because I didn't have a lot of time with those girls leading up to the game and the situation. But it was great to be opposite of Nanette and Kathy. And, you know, they did such a great job. And golly, you could cut it with a knife. The tension in that gym,
it was just.
And, you know, just to be a part of that, be a part of a championship environment.
Atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
And then at the middle school level.
Yeah.
Such at a young age of women that you'll think you'll see in high school, even college, the atmosphere that was in that gym. It
was rocking out. And, you know, I wish we could have put on a little better show.
Yes,
you know, I wish I'd have loved to give Nanette a loss. You know, but being able to shake hands at the end of the game and you know, I saw her yesterday and we talked a little bit on Friday, I guess it was. But, you know, just being across from somebody you respect so much and having that opportunity and then being able to walk away from it and be friends. And I think that would be another piece of advice I would give you. You know, college coaches, they want to be as intense as they can on the court. But when they walk off the court, their recruiting trails cross. They're having the iced tea in the hotel lobby together. They're talking.
It's just like
they're
down
competitive,
to earth people.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And it never should be that. It's not life or death.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we talked a little bit about that this week with other stuff you and I did, but you got to be friends. You don't have to be friends with everybody you coach against, but there has to be a level of respect
between the one
right.
and two. Yes,
and I definitely can, you know, coaching the boys, I think this is fun this year, going through Craven County and Saunders and Matt Reed and being able to, you know, stand on the sideline and talk to them and then compete and go hard at it and then shake hands and it be back to it. And you know, I think probably Mike and I, when we played you guys and that, I mean, Mike's one of the greatest guys I know, and there's a picture that Kelly took and it looks like we're getting ready to square up for UFC. But then, you know, we can text later and be friends and and don't lose sight of that because you never know when that person's going to help you. You know, and I did, this week's been difficult. It's been a difficult 10 days in our society, and I did want to say, you know, that's something for me as a white female coaching boys basketball. You know, I've had some hard conversations with some kids this week, with my own kid, trying to explain society. And, you know, I think that we're blessed as coaches because we see these young people at their best. And if society could see
what we see,
yes, ma'am. You know, and just we can sit and have a conversation. Yes, ma'am. Like, you know,
yes, ma'am.
It's
without
important.
Nothing,
there's nothing. No.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know, if Nellie were out here and I were to ask her to describe you, she'd say you work hard. You know, she has to work hard for you, but she loves you, and society needs some of that. We need to get that and make it. We just gotta figure life out.
Yes, ma'am.
Figure it out. One day. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love it. I love seeing what you're doing, and
thank you so
all
much.
these young kids that you're having an influence on right now, even through the epidemic,
yes,
you know, the pandemic and
the coronavirus. Yes, ma'am.
And your willingness to really help young kids reach their dreams. That's awesome, man.
Yes, ma'am. I really appreciate it. Yes, ma'am. And there y'all have it, y'all. That's the end of the 21st episode with Coach Anderson. We out. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching the Joshua Cuthbertson Show. Please continue to show your love and support by clicking the subscribe button below the video. Check us out next week on the next episode of the Josh Cuthbertson Show. We out.